In my book, the turnaround of the Detroit Pistons last season was the best story in the NBA. In 2024, the Pistons had a grand total of 14 wins and lost 28 consecutive games, but the 2025 season saw them more than triple their win total, becoming the first team in NBA history to accomplish such a feat. Also, no team had ever made the postseason after winning just 14 games the previous season, but the Pistons did just that. In terms of how the Pistons became a respectable team out east that no one wanted to play, well, JB Bickerstaff reintroduced the Pistons' identity of not backing down to anyone and got everyone bought in. The Pistons were a much improved defense, jumping from 26th to 10th in defensive rating and surrendering the 5th fewest points in the paint per game. They were 7th in transition points per game, while also giving up the 5th fewest points in transition, and they jumped from 27th to 17th in three-point percentage, playing a role as to how they jumped 5.3 points in offensive rating compared to the previous season. The offseason additions of Malik Beasley and Tobias Harris paid huge dividends in opening up the floor more for franchise point guard Cade Cunningham, who became all-NBA level. Over the last few seasons, Cunningham had already proven to be one of the better point guards in the league, both from a production standpoint and eye test perspective, but his stellar play was heavily overshadowed by the team's failures. But in 2025, he was an all-star and made his first All-NBA team on 26 points per game and 9 assists a game, 6 rebounds, and 1.8 stocks a game. Cade is a true 6'6" jack-of-all-trades point guard, and his ability to operate at his own pace and not get sped up by the defense, his ability to get to his spots, his footwork, and his ability to drive to the basket and use his size and strength to finish through contact make him a dynamic scoring threat on the floor for the Pistons. Also, his capability as a pick-and-roll ball handler, craftiness to get by defenders due to his ability to accelerate and decelerate quickly, and improved confidence as an outside shooter not only took his game to the next level in the regular season, but also made him a valuable force in the playoffs. Moreover, the most remarkable part about his play, in my opinion, has to be his playmaking, averaging career 9 assists a game this past season and generating 23.4 points per game out of assists, good for the 4th best mark in the entire NBA. With his massive frame, where he has an inherent mismatch at the guard position, the ability to see over defenses because of that size, and his excellent court vision, Cade is very effective in the pick and roll, having one of the highest pick and roll frequencies in the league at 40.7% and scoring the 3rd most points as a pick and roll ball handler in the league. In the NBA playoffs, there were definitely moments where it was clear that this was his first rodeo, but he did have a superstar impact and contributed to the team in a multitude of ways. 25, 8, and 9 for your first go-around is far from bad, and even when his shot wasn't falling, he was aggressive, got to the line, and used the attention he was drawing to continue to create looks for his teammates on a team that needed more shot creation on the floor. The efficiency wasn't exactly what you'd like to see from your top option, especially from the outside, but the playoffs are the stage where efficiency can be overrated. And just like Cade demonstrated, stars need to be even more aggressive to not only create opportunities for their teammates, but to ultimately be the difference maker for the team. He was also present defensively, as further demonstrated by his 3.1 stocks a game in the playoffs, and he had signature games, including that 33-point double-double to tie the series in Game 2, and a triple-double in Game 4 where he also had 4 blocks. Cunningham will further etch his name into Pistons history with each passing season, and you can make an impact by leaving a like on this video, as that makes a massive difference for the channel, and sub for more content like this. As stated before, the Pistons were able to improve their outside shooting through their offseason signings, which makes it all the more painful that Malik Beasley won't be suiting up for this team in 2026. Beasley was incredible for the Pistons this past season, becoming just the 5th player in history to make over 300 threes in a season, and was very vocal about his love and support for the team. However, due to being linked in a sports betting scandal, the Pistons pivoted elsewhere and signed Duncan Robinson. Robinson is an elite shooter in his own right, making the most threes in Miami Heat history, and being only one of 8 undrafted players ever to hit over 1,000 threes for a career. He's not the greatest defender, but he fills that outside shooting need, shooting 39% from 3 on nearly 7 attempts a game. He moves well off the ball and is a good catch and shoot threat, and he did that without a plethora of great playmakers surrounding him. Next up, we have Ausar Thompson, the less talked about the Thompson twins, but still an extraterrestrial being who was made in a lab. He's one of the elite athletes in the game of basketball with exceptional finishing ability, positions himself well for easy scores, whether that be cutting, be in the dunker spot, operating as a screener in the half court, or even running the floor in transition. He's an absolute blur with the ball in his hands due to his ability to accelerate at a moment's notice, and he provides rebounding with the ability to start the break. Defensively, he's also one of the best in the league, having the size and smarts to take on multiple matchups, being a great screen navigator, and combining his nimbleness on the floor with great activity. The one thing holding him back is obviously his outside shot. He plays to his strengths and doesn't even really attempt threes at just 1.3 attempts a game for his career, but he needs to further develop his in-between game and outside shot to keep defenses honest and develop into a better self-creator. I'm not expecting 45% on high volume from mid-range or anything like 37% from 3 on 4 attempts next season, but even slight improvement would go a really long way. He has all the tools to be a legit star, and a consistent jumper would take him and this team to a whole new level. Other frontcourt depth on this team are players Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart, with Duren being a double-double threat that can finish inside, and with Beef Stew being one of the most misunderstood players in the league. People claim that all he does is tackle people and fight, but real fans know that he's essential to what makes this defense tick, being greatly missed in the playoffs against the New York Knicks. However, the most important player who will determine how far the Pistons will go next season is guard Jaden Ivey, a player people are forgetting despite how awesome he looked before his injury. Former coach Monty Williams refused to play Ivey and Cunningham together a great deal of minutes because of the lack of defensive effort and great effectiveness off the ball of Ivey. But this past season under JB Bickerstaff, Ivey put those criticisms to bed and played well with Cade in the backcourt. Ivey is an explosive athlete with good footwork who can break down defenses on this Pistons team, creates rim pressure, and operates well as a ball handler in the pick and roll. Mind you, he was averaging a career best 18 points per game along with 4 assists before his injury and shot a career best 41% from 3 on 5 attempts a game. A big revelation given that outside shooting was proven to be his kryptonite earlier in his career. Watching that Knicks series, Ivey was what was missing, as a ball handler who can be a difference maker out there would have gone a long way. People might be unsure about Ivey since his team was still able to secure the 6th seed without him, but I think it would be foolish for the Pistons to deal him at this moment, given his improvement and overall impact on the floor. Internal improvement from Sasser and Ronald Holland would go a long way as well, but I think the Pistons will be right back in the playoffs in 2026 without a doubt. Their defense should hold up, Cade should have another All-Star, All-NBA caliber season, and their offense will be much more dynamic with Ivey in the fold. This may not be a 51-win year, but they still will be improved as a team, and a team that no one wants to play in the Eastern Conference. With that being said, let me know your thoughts on the Detroit Pistons and how far you think they can go now and in the future. What are your thoughts on Jaden Ivey and how he can impact the Pistons next season? What internal improvement could you see happening across the roster that could take this team to the next level? And if all things go according to plan, how far do you think this team can go in next year's playoffs? With that being said, if you want to check out a good video I made on why guys like Jonathan Kuminga, Josh Giddey, and other members of the 2021 draft class haven't been signed to any deals yet despite how good they are, check out my last video that's on the screen.